welcome back to Authentically ADHD. I am your host, Carmen. I'm a late diagnosed ADHDer, an early childhood special educator, and a certified life and performance coach. I created this podcast to help as many ADHDers as I could to learn about your specific ADHD. I know that when I was late diagnosed, I was sent out the door with meds and no help. We have to do a lot of this work on our own, but if we join together in community, we can live more authentically and with more joy in our lives. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, my friends, and welcome back to the Authentically ADHD podcast, where we explore the unique ways that ADHD can impact our lives, how debilitating it can be, and how we can work with our brains and not fight against them. I'm your host, Carmen, and today we're diving into one of the biggest struggles for ADHD brains that really I've ever heard of, and something that I still struggle with, even after 2.5 years of growth, and that is time. Now, we can call it time management, we can call it managing ourselves within time, but managing our days and sticking to routines and keeping that momentum can feel impossible. But don't you worry, because if you relate to this, I have got you covered with practical strategies, real-life examples, and tools to help you master your time and build a routine that actually works for you. Are you ready? Let's get started. So let's start with the basics. Why do ADHD and time management kind of struggle to get along? So what is ADHD is kind of where we're going to start. It's a neurodevelopmental condition, right? It's characterized by challenges in the executive functions such as planning, prioritization, and time perception. We don't develop time perception as we grow up like neurotypical brains do. Some of the common challenges that we have with time management include time blindness. Russell Barkley coins this term as the difficulty of perceiving the passage of time accurately. That's why it feels like 5 minutes when it's been an hour. Or when you're doing something boring, vice versa, it feels like it's been an hour when it's only been 5 minutes. Another common challenge is task initiation issues, trouble beginning tasks, even when they are important. We have a hard time prioritizing and initiating tasks due on deadlines, which is why we tend to wait until the last minute, pull all-nighters, etc. Then there's hyperfocus and distractibility. We get overly absorbed into a task or that we really are interested in, or we're easily distracted by multiple other stimuli, especially if we're doing a task we don't necessarily like. So why do routines matter for our brains? So structure reduces decision fatigue. Ever have that feeling where you're like, I cannot make another choice or decision? Having a routine minimizes that need to constantly having to decide what to do next. Predictability eases those transitions, so knowing what comes next helps smooth transitions between activities and tasks. So you're sitting in the car for less time before you go into work or into the house. So why does time really feel so slippery when you have ADHD? Let's break it down from a neurobiological perspective. ADHD is fundamentally a condition of executive function impairment, which means it affects the brain's ability to plan, organize, manage time effectively, and this is largely due to differences in our prefrontal cortex, the brain's command center for decision-making and self-regulation. And then the dopamine system, which influences motivation and reward processing. Now, research shows that individuals with ADHD experience time blindness. Like I referenced before, it's a difficulty in accurately perceiving the passage of time. And this isn't just about poor time management. It is a neurological difference. We cannot feel time passing, which makes it difficult to estimate time, so we have an impaired time estimation. Studies using time reproduction tasks reveal that people with ADHD tend to underestimate or overestimate durations, right? We don't know how long something's going to take, or we think it's going to take longer than it actually is going to take. The dishwasher feels like it takes 30 minutes to empty, right? Put a stopwatch on next time you do it. I bet you, unless you go really slow on purpose, it won't take you more than 10 to 15 minutes. The brain struggles to create an internal clock, making it difficult to gauge how long tasks actually take. Then we have the now versus not now thinking. So because we have a difficulty to perceive time, ADHD brains tend to categorize time in two ways: immediate and everything else. This is not particularly useful because without a strong sense of future consequences, tasks that aren't urgent often get pushed to the side. Then add in our working memory deficits. Since our working memory is essential for keeping track of goals, deadlines, and time constraints, deficits in this area make it harder for individuals with ADHD to stay on top of time-sensitive tasks. So, if ADHD makes time feel like a shape-shifting illusion, what can we do about it? Let's start with building routines that work, and let's go step by step. First, there's building a foundation. Here's the good news of all this doom and gloom. Science-backed strategies like structured routines, external time cues, and visual schedules can create predictability and help compensate for our time blindness. So one of the things that I want to talk about is routines reduce cognitive load. When you have a well-established routine, it eliminates that decision fatigue and that cognitive load. When daily habits are automatic, our brain doesn't have to constantly problem solve about what to do next. Research in cognitive psychology suggests that habits bypass the executive function demands, making follow-through easier. Then there's visual schedules and timers that enhance our time awareness. Visual schedules provide external structure, helping us see what needs to happen and when. A 2018 study on visual supports found that externalizing time through planners, calendars, tasks boards, and other things significantly improved task initiation and completion rates. Then, timers and time cues, like countdown timers, Pomodoro techniques, or even auditory reminders, can create a tangible sense of passing time, like making a timer ding at every hour, or making a timer visual so you can see how much time is passing by. Brain imaging studies suggest that real-time feedback enhances the activation in our prefrontal cortex, strengthening that time awareness. Then, chunking tasks and implementing transition strategies I have found to really help me. Breaking tasks into smaller, time-bound chunks makes it less overwhelming, especially when the projects are big and feel unmanageable. Research on behavior momentum shows that starting with a simple low-effort action can build motivation, making it easier to tackle bigger tasks. So, no, it doesn't work for us to tackle or eat the frog, as they say, and do the hardest thing first. It's easier for those of us with ADHD to start with simple, low-effort things. At the end of the day, ADHD brains do not lack discipline or willpower, and we are not lazy. We just need structure that works with our neurobiology and not against it. A solid routine starts with small, manageable tips. Remember, start small and be realistic. Instead of, I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and work out for an hour, start with, I can stretch for 5 minutes. Break routines into steps. Instead of get ready for work, break it down into wake up, journal, brush teeth, shower, get dressed, whatever it is that you need to do, break it down and time it out. I'm telling you, this really helped me see how long my morning routine actually was and how much time I would need for it, meaning how much, like what time I needed to wake up, like how much time did I need between when I woke up and when it was time to leave. Another tip is color-coded calendars, whiteboards, sticky notes, whatever works for you. Now, we're going to talk about time-saving tricks in a little bit, but right now I want to touch on maintaining that momentum and flexibility. We're going to talk about two key ingredients to ADHD-friendly routines, momentum and flexibility. If you're like me, you've probably started a new routine with great enthusiasm, only to abandon it after a few days. Why does this happen? Because ADHD brains thrive on novelty, and routines can often feel repetitive and boring over time. So how do we maintain momentum without burning out? Let's break it down. Reward yourself and progress. Reward yourself for your progress and your successes. Why does this work? Because our brains love dopamine and our reward system is broken. That feel-good transmitter gets sucked up with our brains. With ADHD, we often have lower levels of it, making motivation harder. So try to create built-in rewards, and they don't have to be big. Watching an episode of your favorite show after finishing a task, using a fun planner, or even a simple high five with yourself or someone else can reinforce those good habits. A client of mine struggled with his morning routines, and he started using a check-off sticker chart. Yes, an adult using a sticker chart. And you know what? It worked. Seeing the progress visually helped him stick with it. Embrace flexibility and adapt your routines as you need. ADHD brains need structure, but we resist rigidity. Routines shouldn't feel like a prison. Have a plan B. If your morning routine gets disrupted, do a shorter version instead of giving up completely. So if your workout routine falls apart because you're running late, instead of skipping it, try a 5-minute stretch instead. Seek support from professionals and a community. This podcast is not a substitute for coaching or therapy, but it can be a community. ADHD is tough to navigate alone. Therapy, coaching, and ADHD communities can help. Find an accountability, a friend, a coach, or an online group to check in with. One of my clients does body doubles with me on Saturdays, and it really helps him to keep him accountable without feeling pressured to get those low-pressure tasks done. Now that we've covered the momentum and flexibility, let's talk about some of those tools that can make time management easier. Hey there. If you're looking for a game changer in managing your ADHD, let me tell you about something that's made a huge impact on my life. Focused, the adult ADHD group coaching program by Kristen Carter. This isn't just another program. It's a community. It's a roadmap. It's a lifeline for adults with ADHD who want to thrive. Inside of Focus, you'll find weekly coaching calls with Kristen packed with actionable insights, a supportive community of adults who get it. They get what it's like to live with ADHD. You'll get tools and strategies that actually work for our brains. No fluff, just real results. I've been a part of Focused for over a year, and let me tell you, it's where I've learned so much of what I share with you on Authentically ADHD. It's been a game changer for me, and I think it could be for you too. And here's the best part. If you use my link to join, we both save money. It's a win-win. So if you've been looking for the right ADHD support, this is your sign to check it out. Head to the link in my show notes to learn more and sign up. Let's thrive together with tools and support that we need to succeed. Are you also loving what we're doing on Authentically ADHD but want to take your experience to the next level? Well, I have got something for you. Introducing the Authentically ADHD Patreon, your VIP pass to the ultimate ADHD support hub. As a Patreon member, you'll unlock exclusive perks like early access to every single episode, hear it before anyone else does, a treasure trove of resources that I've made, tools, guides, and worksheets to help you thrive in everyday aspects of life, direct coaching opportunities with me designed to help you harness your ADHD powers, and the cherry on top, an incredible community of like-minded individuals who just get it. You're not alone on this journey, and together we can be unstoppable. By joining Patreon, you're not just supporting the podcast, you're fueling a movement. Together, we're breaking stigmas, embracing authenticity, and creating a world where ADHD is seen as a strength and not just a struggle. So what are you waiting for? Head over to patreon.com/authenticallyADHD and join the family today. Let's keep growing, thriving, and showing up authentically together. Hope to see you over there. Back to the show. All right, let's get into the good stuff. First, we're going to talk about some of the technology and tools that can be game changers for ADHD time management, but only if we use them intentionally. Here's how to make them work for you instead of getting distracted by it. Explore apps and tools for time management. Apps like Todoist, Forest, Timeo, and Sunsama. Personally, I use Sunsama. Todoist is for task organization, Forest to stay focused, and Timeo is an ADHD-friendly visual planner. I have not tried out Timeo or Forest, but I do like Todoist, but I really like Sunsama. It pairs with my Google Calendars, and it makes timers, and I can switch it to Pomodoro if I want to. So experiment with different apps, but don't overload yourself. Find one or two that work for you and stick with those. Leverage reminders and notifications. Use auditory and visual reminders. Personally, sticky notes don't work for me, but those pop-up notifications on my phone, I set them so that they take over everything. They stop whatever I'm listening to, whatever it is that's going on my phone, and it takes up my whole screen, reminding me of what I need to do. And I don't let myself make it so that I just swipe it away. I have to do the thing before I hit complete. So use whatever it is that works for you. Reminders, alarms, sticky notes, those pop-up notifications. I also set reminders, like, for example, to take my ADHD meds, but instead of a boring take meds alert, I used something called like superpower boost time. For me, it's, get it going for the day, like be a bad bitch. It makes it more engaging and fun when you name your alarms or your reminders as like something that makes you feel good or something that's fun. And then use those voice assistants. Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri, they can set timers, reminders, and even help you with grocery lists. Example, I tell my phone to remind me to check my email at 2 p.m. and it frees up that mental space so I don't have to remember it all the way until later. Because guess what? When we try to tack up things to remember on our little, core boards in our brains, they fall off. So now that we've got some tools, let's talk about, how we can save time and strategies to help you maximize focus and minimize that wasted time. I love using the Eisenhower matrix for prioritizing tasks. It helps you with the things that are important and things that are urgent and telling the difference. So there's 4 boxes. The first box is urgent and important, meaning do it now. The next box is important but not urgent, meaning schedule it. The next one, number 3, is urgent but not important, so delegate it or schedule it out for later. And if it's none of these things, skip it for now and do it during your rest time. Number 2, break large tasks into smaller steps. Instead of write a report, break it down into research, outline, write, turn in, print out. Like, make those small things a checklist. Each time you check one off, it will also help with your momentum to keep going. And time blocking. I used to hate time blocking, but I really love setting aside specific chunks of time for certain tasks. So, for example, this morning I set aside a 30 to 45 minute time to get reports done for my conferences that are coming up. So, these are some of the things you can try for prioritizing. Let's talk about time blindness and 10 strategies to support your routines. Time blindness means we struggle to sense how much time has passed, but don't worry. There are ways to work around that. Use external time cues like timers, alarms, and countdown clocks. Use visual time, like hourglasses, analog clocks, and things that are visual, whether it's a color that's counting down, sand, whatever it may be. And create urgency with like fake deadlines. For example, I'll finish this by 11 a.m. Even if it's not due until tomorrow, make up that 11 a.m. deadline in your mind and make it so that you need to get it done by then. Maybe even reward yourself after. These are just a few of many ways to improve ADHD time management, and I'd love for you to leave your favorite one down in the comments. So, managing time with ADHD is not about being perfect. It's about finding out what works for you. So try out these strategies, experiment, and be kind to yourself in the process. Thanks for tuning in this week, and if you found this helpful, share it with a friend, leave a review, and that's all I have for now. Stay authentic, and we'll talk soon.